We have a hobosexual alert. We have a hobosexual alert. And this Reddit post is fresh off the presses. You see, she just posted it 30 minutes before I started grabbing screenshots. She says her boyfriend, who is 31, has been staying in her apartment since June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So it's going on 6 months. This is an infestation at this particular point. So she says, long story short, he ended up losing the place he was living at. It was my place or his parents. I tried telling him to go to his parents because I had just started living on my own and had been working 2 jobs to have my place to myself. And I knew he wouldn't be able to help me with bills despite him saying he would like to. Already off that, she needs to figure out how to get rid of this infestation. Ladies, when they are down on their luck and they have a place to land, they need to land at that other place, not your place. This is a cautionary tale. This is a 28-year-old woman. She finally got a chance to get her own spot, and now she has to deal with a hobosexual boyfriend. All right, let's continue the story. She says it's now at the point that he has a job, but it's been over 6 months, and I am struggling extremely hard to regulate my emotions. I have quite frankly been a B word and done or said some things I'm really not proud of. Here's the issue. Everyone I've talked to has told me I'm not wrong for asking him to leave or to go stay with his parents while he figures out getting back on his feet. But he says that his coworkers and parents find it really weird and surprising that I'm not okay with him living with me. I asked him if he included the part that he's been rent and utility free for the past 6 months. And he says he did, but they still say it's weird and that if I love him, I should want to help him. And by help, he means support him, this fully grown man who's 31 years old. They believe, and he believes, that she should continue to work all these extra hours to support this grown man. I told him I still have love for him, but this apartment was something I worked hard for and was supposed to be my sanctuary where I could just live on my own and not worry about anyone else's habits. Can I please just get reassurance that I'm not a trash person? She's not a trash person, but what she needs to do is get this dude out of her place right now. And this is the thing. This is hobosexual season, y'all. These are pests that need to nest and rest. Once you let them in the door, they burrow into your couches. This is what happens. You give them the Wi-Fi code. They stay on that Wi-Fi code. You give them some soup. They keep needing you to give them soup. Do not allow this to happen. I am so glad that women are talking about this. I'm sad that this has happened to this woman. She's 6 months into this. She's been carrying the weight of 2 people as a 28-year-old who thought that she is finally going to have some peace and some tranquility, and now she is not having that peace nor tranquility. She's sitting up here thinking that she is a B word because she's getting frustrated at having to take care of this grown man. Absolutely not. So this is the reason why we have these conversations beforehand. This is the reason why we are wanting you to talk to your teenage girls. This is the reason why we want you to talk to your girls before they go off to college so that they don't end up in this situation. We need to be talking about these homosexuals and like doing these little alerts, whatever I'm doing with my fingers. We need to do that now because now getting rid of this pest is going to be a little bit challenging, especially if they know the tenant laws or whatever. Hopefully, she'll just be able to say, you gotta go. They end up breaking up. Bam, she has her apartment. I did make a comment on her post. I said, you, ma'am, have a hobosexual on your hands, and this may become a major infestation if you don't fumigate now. You are not an a-hole. You need your space. He is leeching off of you, and that's a violation. You do not need a man who becomes a liability. This dude is a liability. Bad relationships can jack you up mentally, physically, emotionally, but they can also jack you up financially. And having to carry a liability of a man who is just like, he was just supposed to land on his feet. He is not. Right now, he is a liability. She has to work extra hours to provide for him. He's using up extra resources. He needs to go. She needs to fumigate. Most Walk 666 says, you're not trash, but you should maybe break up with your homosexual boyfriend. I'm glad that Most Walk is using the word homosexual, but maybe should not be in that sentence. I believe that this has reached its course. She has sponsored a parasite for 6 months. She has done her community service. Now it's time to give her parasite back to his parents. Direct Recording says, in some areas, he's now considered a tenant. And if he wants to fight, you got to evict him. And that's terrible. And John from Florida says this right here. This does not bode well at all. And that's the thing. That's the reason why we got to talk about these things right now. We got to talk about it before women end up in these situations, because there are tenant laws. Some of these people know that you have to evict them. That's the reason why we will continue to say, don't even let them move in. Don't let them move in. Don't let them move in. And you got to talk to your girls younger and younger so that they do not get caught up in this empathy trap. Because this is a trap. This woman is at her wit's end, and she's becoming a person that she didn't want to be. How are you going to go from wanting a sanctuary and some tranquility to being a B word? Absolutely not. She needs to figure out how to get rid of this pest. Ooh, Barracuda says, take your award. I think she's talking to Most Walk because she got an award. Take your award. Thanks for the laugh. This should almost be an automated response in this sub. Adulterescence at the bottom says, the internet is telling you, OP, that your boyfriend living with you rent-free for 6 months is weird. It is weird. It's terrible. It's a violation. It's all of those words. Away Specific says, oh my God, throw him out. If he refuses to leave, tell him you will call the police to come help you. And if he thinks you're kidding, call the police. You have no obligation to house this loser. And of course, break up with him. He has proven himself to be a worthless mooch. Raven McCoy says, you've helped him for 6 months. Who cares what they think? They're not in a relationship with him, and it wasn't your intention to live together. It's not their business. You've helped him enough and want to live alone. It's more than fair to say it. Terry at the bottom is wondering, have you spoken with his coworkers or his parents? Because there's a good chance he's lying. Frankly, you should have never let him move in. Stop letting this guy walk all over you and kick him out. He's a big boy. He can figure it out on his own. Piludus says, you are absolutely not a trash person, and why the hell would your boyfriend be talking about his relationship at work? He either made up that whole thing or he left out crucial details. He overstepped by not listening to you when he lost his place. And here's the OP saying, I mean, to be fair, I don't think him talking to his coworkers is wrong. We all need people we can confide in and get outside perspectives from. So I have zero problem with him talking about it with his friends he's made at work. But I did retaliate by telling him the truth about what my friends and relatives had said on the situation, which wasn't very nice. But his response was essentially, then they're just trash too, and you shouldn't be talking about this with anyone. That's disrespectful to my situation. Okay, yeah. Just like the next person is about to say, because I didn't see that part. But I did start to see. Carlos says he's very hypocritical, and I agree with Carlos. He's very hypocritical. So he can talk to people to get support, but you can't talk to anyone who is critical of him. You need to kick him out. He's overstayed his welcome by 6 months. Absolutely. I agree with Carlos. I didn't realize that he called her friends and family trash simply because they don't want him mooching off of her anymore. Hopefully, I mean, like I said in the very beginning, I just got to this post. And trust me, I will be checking back in on this one because this dude gotta go. Y'all join the conversation. Keep this type of conversation going. Talk to your children about this. Let them know that this can happen. Just say no to pests that need to nest and rest. They will attach to you. They will suck you dry of your time, energy, and resources. Join the conversation. Relationships are supposed to be mutually beneficial. It's supposed to be mutual support and care and all of that. But the reason why I have been using the words wife appliance recently is because when men have a wife appliance, they expect to be served. They expect to be taken care of. Men can get sick, and his spouse is going to swoop in and do all of the things to nurse him back to health. But when a woman gets sick, Will she get the same level of care as him? We don't know that. And for the most part, many medical professionals say that men do not stick and stay. Men will abandon their sick wives and their sick kids sometimes more than any women will ever even consider doing that. So we get to this point from this woman named Dr. Sophia Myers. She says, I had a major surgery a couple of years ago. My husband of 20 years only helped me the day I came home from the hospital. He couldn't care less afterwards. My teen daughter was the one helping me get out of bed to use the restroom, shower, eat, drive me to appointments, pick up medication from the pharmacy. We are in the process of divorce now. I'm glad he will be out of my life. Now this teen daughter as well knows that her dad is unreliable and unsupportive and a terrible spouse because the teen daughter had to pick up where her dad was supposed to be doing this job. This is the job of the dad. The whole in sickness and health only goes one way with some of these people. So now the daughter knows that as well. But it's a good thing she's in the process of a divorce. She sees that this is not a mutually beneficial, supportive, loving relationship, and she's getting out of there. She started the conversation, but other women started chiming in. We have Jane here. Jane says, I had back surgery. When I came home, I went to lay down. Went downstairs to see what was for dinner. Nothing. Ex laying on the couch watching TV. My daughter drove me to pick up dinner for 5, and I effing paid for it. And then this woman right here, Pamela says, how do women find these dreadful men? So it always comes back to choose better or some variation. But how do you know that your spouse wouldn't take care of things like this? How would you know that until you're in the midst of it? And she did say my ex. So she did eventually leave this man. But the thing is, instead of saying, how do women get to this point where they get these types of men, when are we going to shift this narrative and say, why won't these men just do better? Now, this person says, should have made a dinner for 4, let him get his own effing food. I completely agree with that. She went, I presume that she had kids or whatnot, but why even get him anything? He's not hurt, and he didn't care about her at all. Polly Strife says, not 20 years, but a committed relationship of over 6 years. 12 days in the hospital, 6 of them in the CICU, cancer diagnosis and weeks of treatment ahead. He never came to see me in the hospital, and I saw him once after I got home. He told me later he was afraid of losing me. Guess what? And then Fiorella says, why even stay with him without trust? So still thinking the worst of the woman, like, why would you stay with this person? And then Polly says, oh no, I didn't. He ghosted me for the duration of my treatment. He came to see me thinking his mea culpa would be enough. Nope. Zarinam says he was afraid of losing you, so he avoided you. What kind of BS argument is that? And to that, this person says, that was his rationale for not helping you? And she says, yes, and that he knew I had my daughter. Dawn says, it's been my experience when someone says he's afraid of losing you, what you contribute to making his life easier. Not you personally. I'd rather be alone. I was scrolling through Dr. Sophia's page and I came across this one. She says, help, my husband's iPhone has a glitch where it automatically sends raunchy pictures of himself to other women. This is probably also why they are in the process of a divorce. And this is probably, like she says, just a glitch. This is probably not his fault. All right, y'all. So I'm moving on to this new thread. So this is a person named Lavender's Being. So like lavender lesbian. And she's answering the question, what radicalized you? And you see she's posting this under the feminist thread topic. She says, watching my female relatives plan, cook, shop, decorate, clean, and organize for the holidays, while the men just show up and watch TV the whole time. So that radicalized her. And this seems to be an issue that women of right now are saying, no, get someone else to do it, or I am over this. And I really believe that we haven't really seen too many people talking about the holidays. We haven't seen too many people talking about Thanksgiving. Many of the holidays are being ignored or boycotted or whatever, because women are tired of doing all of this planning, cooking, shopping, decorating, cleaning beforehand and cleaning up afterwards, just so these dudes can sit up and do absolutely nothing. And to that, women are saying, nay, nay, I say. Now, here she comes. She came back 2 hours later. She says, this is getting popular, which means the angry men will show up in my replies soon. And for that, I immediately had to follow her because I like it when they come in and they're like, this is what God said. God said. Icemeister says, the great thing about that is you will know which accounts to block immediately. There's no point in engaging with folks who just want to, well, actually, you, or pick a fight. I agree with that, but I do like to collect their tears. Pets and Stroller says, I love drama. Wafaba says, well, make sure you fix them a plate straight to the face. The Serendipity Journey says, I wouldn't worry because the seriously pissed off, menopausal, take no prisoner women are here for it. Angry man-child can get in the bin. Then we got Dion says, don't forget about the angry pick-me women who love to perpetuate such misogyny and keep up with toxic traditions too, and hate a generational cycle breaker. There are women that will show up and say that this is my job and God said I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to be submissive. And to that, I'm like, look, if that is what you want to do, if you want to do all of the planning, the cooking, the going to work and making the money so you can do all of the grocery shop, if that's what you want to do, you go ahead and do that. Just understand that some of us are opting out. Like I said before, I have never cooked a Thanksgiving dinner. My mother has never hosted a Thanksgiving dinner. My mom will cook one dish and take it somewhere. I'm breaking my mom broke that generational curse, so I didn't have anything. And my daughter, she will never see this happen. She will never see me host something like that. So there's not going to be anything for her to break. We're breaking these cycles. We are not put here to be servants. Then we have Megan Nerd says, doing all of that, then having an empty stocking and nothing to open on Christmas for herself, or getting no consideration for her birthday, or getting no consideration for Mother's Day or anything. Women need to stop doing so much. Pour into the people who have poured into you. If you have a family where you're always the one giving and doing, stop giving and doing and do for yourself. The Myla Croy says, this always killed me. As soon as I got my first job at 14, I started filling my mom's stocking myself. The fact that my dad would see me do this and still not think to do it for her, and then she's called her own dad trash. And then Megan Nerd says, same here. She always had less and was so tired. I'm never doing that for some lazy behind person. And then she says, amen, girl. This is what radicalizes people. Sometimes it's not the crazy feral feminists like me. Sometimes it's what women saw as children growing up, where their dads did absolutely nothing. I did post this one to my YouTube community. So Ellie says, I once dumped a man I was engaged to after attending my first holiday with his family. Not only did he leave me in the kitchen with the women to go sit with the men, his other male family members were requesting refills and food from me like I was a waitress. They were doing this to other women too. My stuff was packed and I was gone within 2 days. And then this is her man. Her man chimes in saying, I'm thankful for every guy who fumbled you, Nina. And that made me smile because she says, me too, baby, me too. See? You do not have to be a servant to these people. You can walk away from a bad relationship and that'll give you space to fill it with somebody else who will respect you and be more of a partner than these people want. Y'all chime in and let me know what you think about these two posts. So this woman jumps into my Reddit inbox and she's sharing with me a text message conversation between her and this man. She told him no, and he melted down because of it. He started to crash out on her. So this is what she says. I've been talking to this man for about a year, a little over 5 years older. So he's 5 years older than her. And on Thanksgiving, he called me trying to get me to go to his get together, which I didn't feel like doing as I was overstimulated. And this dude decided I needed to be even more overstimulated. And the man shrieked and pleaded so loudly into my phone that my mom could hear. Took the opportunity to call me over, and she basically said if I was unsafe to ghost without guilt. So she says, Mama's saying, ghost this dude. This dude is not a safe man, simply because she can hear him hollering into the phone. She says, I didn't think it warranted ghosting without an honest conversation, but this was just a masterclass in why this man is single and I will remain single. All right, let's look at these text messages. So after she got off the phone with him, she sends him a text message. She says, I really did not appreciate you calling me while I was at my parents' house, shrieked so loud into the phone, my mother could hear it from the next room, and would not take no for an answer when I said I didn't want to come over. I just didn't want the first text you saw in the morning to F up your momentum for the workday. Going forward, when I say no, it's not cause for a crash out and wear down. I despise feeling like I have to justify myself, and it really felt like you cared more about me pacifying you than you actually hearing that I was tired, cranky, and not in the mood to socialize. I'm not aiming to hurt your feelings. I'm telling you what I need from you to feel safe and seen. I'm a recovering people pleaser who still has to assume that role professionally, but I'm not doing that in my personal life. Can you respect that? And he says, yeah. She simply says, thank you. And then he starts with all of these words. He says, you are looking way too much into it though, but I can understand that you have been treated like so I don't quite get it. I'm a different go with the flow kind of guy. All of your insecurities and your life of being subjugated really does not make sense to me because I have not been there. So I can see how I come off as shallow or disrespectfully, but I'm not trying to be that way, and I apologize in advance for all of that. All of the women I seem to see lately are all in the same boat, it seems. I have no room for hate in my heart, and it seems like you hate a lot of stuff. So I need to pace myself to deal with the hate you put out into the world. She simply said, I don't feel like going to your Thanksgiving get together. And he has turned it into all of this, that she's putting hate into the world. Okay, let's see what she says back to that. She says, it's not an insecurity. Not bringing it up to you would be an insecurity. It's not about me not going with the flow. It's that you couldn't take no for an answer and made me way more uncomfortable on a day I was already uncomfortable. Mind you, you acted similarly on that date we went on a while back. I actually really wanted to go to the street fair, and it was you who started freaking out and saying, I'm blowing it. So I decided to be flexible and go with your plan. But then you flipped out on me because you didn't want to stay at your house, and you took it as a personal attack versus it actually just being my preference. He says, I didn't flip out, LOL. Again, there seems to be things that have happened to you in the past, and you project it onto me. And she says, this has nothing to do with the hate I put into the world. It's about you needing to accept when I say no the first time. No is not short for negotiation. She seems to be quite clear to me, but it causes him to say a lot more words. She says, no is not short for negotiation. All right, what is he saying next? It's fine. I'm honestly at a point in my life where I don't have the time for negativity or anything that puts negative energy into the world. I'm all positive vibes. You, however, are angry. Like, I'm sorry you are angry, and the anger is warranted. However, and then he says some more stuff right here. He says, however, and then says some more stuff. So that was the last text message she gave me. And I was reading and I'm like, this dude irritates me. How old are y'all? She says she just turned 35. He's 41. He's 41, but it doesn't really matter. A lot of these men, no matter the age, simply do not like the word no. You hear he heard the word no, and now he's saying that this is negative and he's positive vibes. So if she says no, it's just negativity and hate. She continues, she says that those were just the first 4 of 14 sets of screenshots. So she only sent me 4. She says thereafter he just drunkenly rambled, and then I sent him a final kiss off this morning. He's blocked and attempting to call. So she did block him. No more talking to him. She says he hasn't gotten through. I discussed the matter with my neighbor and close friend, a truly wonderful and deeply intelligent woman. She was kind to me, read it over, and offered some excellent advice. Good for her. I'm glad that she has someone to talk to, and obviously I'm talking to her as well. And then I gave her this picture because I needed some meditation after reading that crash out. It says, inner peace begins with 4 words. Not my effing problem. Not my effing problem. But I did still want to see, let me get a glimpse of what else that this man was talking about, because I saw that the text message had been cut off. So remember, we ended here like, I'm sorry you are angry and the anger is warranted. So that's kind of where we cut off. He says, I want nothing but bliss and happiness for everyone, even though her happiness at that point would be not socializing. She just wanted to chill. She says, yeah, I've had people effing disrespect my wishes and autonomy in the past, and that's not happening again if I can help it. And that's why I'm telling you not to behave that way with me again, and why it's not acceptable. This part right here, I don't appreciate you trying to twist me setting a reasonable boundary into a trauma response. Don't act like that again and we'll be cool. Because all he has done is crash out over the word no. I don't want to get together right now. I've been overstimulated. And he's turned it into all of this. He says, that is understandable and I won't. But please, we've been talking for a year. Stop treating me like I am out to hurt you. I am only honest with you and spent and open. Yet I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells when talking to you. You are a stronger woman than that. Ugh. And she says, regardless of how long we've been talking, it was not necessary for you to behave like that. And it was perfectly reasonable of me to say no and call you on it. And to that he says, I suppose, but I also was right for being honest and open and saying, what the F is wrong with you, LOL. You have been acting super angry at everything and everyone, and I don't know how to deal with that energy at this time. She says, dude, you're missing the whole effing point. This is about me being angry or you trying to act like you're all effing zen when your tantrum the other day was audible to family members. It's about you respecting my boundaries. Keep the armchair psychoanalysis to yourself. The part that gets cut off says, I thought you were tougher than that, and I apologize. So this dude is very condescending, as we can see. And then she says, I'm not asking you to treat me with kid gloves. I'm asking you to take no for an answer like an effing adult the first time, instead of tantruming into the phone and bemoaning how you are blowing it. These couple of texts right here gets a little rambled. He is rambling here, like she said, but it sounds like he's like, you're confusing me. You act like you want me on text and then not when we get together. He says, good God, you're like an effing Rubik's Cube or something like that. She says, I'm done talking for the evening. You've given me plenty to think about and I need a break. I've made my points known and you can reflect. She says, I will. I hope you sleep well. And she says, Aziz bon nuit, or enough. Good night. And then right here, he says, and realize it's better when you have someone to cuddle with and not be all alone all the time. So I'm sorry I'm so lonely. Sheesh. And I said, good night, madame. I always wanted to say that. Imagine it in a British accent or Australian, if it pleases you. And Bluey was the Australian dog you were thinking of, by the way. Bluey. He is a dog. And then he says, and you suck. You forgot how to be intimate. And I'm drunk right now. And I'm being super brutally honest. You didn't even want me to hold your hand or kiss or anything. And now after all of that, he's blocked. That was a ramble. That was a whole mess. But y'all needed to see how he melted down simply because she said no. She didn't want to socialize at Thanksgiving. And it required all of this. Y'all let me know what you think. This was wild, I know. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
Dating men in 2025 feels like teaching a fish how to ride a bicycle. It's painful and pointless. I cannot speak for everyone else, but I'm noticing a growing divergence between men and women around me. Women are making more, becoming more independent, confident, self-aware. Women are not putting up with bullshit anymore, setting firm boundaries. It's all about leveling up and create a great life for yourself. When we say we want a partner who's emotionally mature, kind, empathetic, respectful women, it is shocking to see how many men can't even meet those basic criteria. Is that really so much to ask? Because we're not asking for a perfect man. We're asking for the bare minimum standard of a normal, functional human being. The men are staying where they were, if not regressing. But honestly, I think the growing gap is a good thing for women because it forces us to finally realize the fundamental truth is that relationship, marriage, motherhood is not the ultimate mission of a woman's life. The real mission is to build a fulfilling life for yourself. What we need to focus on is building our confidence, how to make more money, elevating the quality of your life. And when you focus on those things, you will realize how incredible your life can be.